Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Well, if you saw my one corn harvesting video here a couple weeks back, I told you that we had trouble with this 4840 and the PTO shaft right there. And we had checked out about a local mechanic trying to get this thing fixed, and he said he is absolutely covered up. And so, well, now that we're getting kind of caught up here, and well, as of right now, we've run out of bin space. We've probably got about, I don't know, I guess about 40 acres left, 35 to 40 acres left currently of corn. So we're definitely slowed down until we can get more corn moved to town. But figure, well, I'll go ahead and dig in this thing myself. So I'm gonna grab a rag right quick and show you what's going on. But I know when we took it off the grain cart, it was dumping oil out here around the PTO. And if I grab that PTO, that ain't good. And you can see the oil draining down out of the bottom right there. So I just called the John Deere dealer, and he gave me a rough idea of the layout in here, because you got an oil seal, and I took the PTO out of the 4955 years ago, and I couldn't remember exactly all the layout, but he said you got the seal, there should be a snap ring, and then 2 carrier bearings with another snap ring on the other side of that. And so I just kind of want to get a rough idea, that way I can try to know, at least know what I'm getting into, know what to look for. So I got to get these arms raised up out of the way, and then I've got to drain the oil out of the tractor, which the way it was leaking when we caught it, there's probably not much left in the thing, so wait and see. This right back in here is the oil or hydraulic oil plug drain cap. Now I just gotta find the right socket to fit on it. Yep, 1 inch. Okay, I'm gonna pull that out. I've already cleaned out 3 5-gallon buckets, because if I remember right, these things hold approximately 15-gallon, but I can tell you right now, it does not have 15-gallon in the thing. And so I'm gonna grab me a ratchet and I'll pop that out of there. Got me a ratchet here, let's see what happens. Oh boy, that thing's in there tight. Yeah, jump around the other side. Just gotta watch it, don't want to smack the camera too hard. Oh, now you can't even see it down underneath there. And we'll sit you right there and see what it looks like. Trying not to get my arm in all the oil. There we go, finally. Okay, that's got loosened up. I'm going to take and try and spin it out to the edge, well, close to the edge with my fingers, and then I'll put a bucket underneath it. I think it's got like an O-ring gasket around it that seals it up. In fact, back when we bought this tractor at the end of 2020, there's my bucket. I actually changed, well, I guess it was probably in the winter of 2021, I changed the hydraulic oil in it. Trying to do it here that we don't blast oil everywhere. Okay, I've got oil coming out. However, there wasn't a whole lot of oil in there, I don't think. I talked to the grain cart driver. Told me, he said that when he was driving the tractor, he said he didn't notice anything in the power steering. It was fine. The power shifted fine, but when he went to put the PTO in gear, actually I was kind of chugging air. When he went to put the PTO in gear, that's when it started making kind of like, he says, kind of like a squally noise and just odd sounds. So we'll see how much oil is actually left in the tractor. It didn't have any on the dipstick, and I think that's actually, it's kind of chugging air right now, which is kind of odd because the fuel cap should be vented, unless it's gotten plugged with dirt possibly. But I don't think it actually hurt anything on the tractor, like the hydraulic pump or anything like that. So we'll get this oil drain back out and I'll bring it back in. Alright, just pulled out 1 bucket of oil. I just put this second bucket here in. Right here. There's the full one. Well, not quite full. I kept it down so I don't want it splashing everywhere. At least that's a good sign anyway. It wasn't completely out of oil. It at least had that 5 gallon, and it's down there chugging out some more right there. I thought about cracking either the dipstick up there on top and or the fuel cap to let it vent faster. However, I want it going slow, that way it's not just blasting oil everywhere. So now I'm going to grab my impact and socket and start taking some of these bolts here out. I'm going to leave this side one and that side one in. I'm going to take the rest of them out though. Well, no wonder why. My battery's about dead on my impact. I thought it was charged up. Need some more juice. Huh. Well, I can take care of that problem. Let's jump up here at the top. Okay, had enough punch to take that one out. Let's see about this one. Barely. Judging by the rust inside them holes, and there it just died. I'm going to guess these bolts have never been out since 1978 when the tractor was made. So, well, hey, at least that's got those out anyway. I've got another battery I can throw on for temporarily and at least get that one right there out anyway. Grabbed another battery and threw on the impact. Now that makes a big difference. Okay, let's take a look here. The oil is about drained out, and I'm going to pull the bucket out here in the light to see it. That bucket, it may be, up to about right here. So maybe about, I don't know, 3 gallon, 3.5 gallon roughly in a 5 gallon bucket. Yeah, so the tractor was definitely low, because if I remember right, it holds approximately 15 gallon, and so it had roughly half that had leaked out. Of course, when you're in the tractor, there's absolutely no way of knowing that it's leaking right here on this PTO shaft. So, well, at least it wasn't bone dry. I'm gonna get this bucket pulled out of here now. Now that the oil's all drained out, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the last 2 bolts out. Okay, let's get all the bolts popped out there. Now, one thing I may end up doing is taking and I may end up moving the combine over, if I can, up against the bean head over here, because I got some Oh, quite a bit of space here behind the Bobcat. Take and move it that way. Thing is, I've got the other 48 and the grain cart sitting back behind me. But move it over and grab the forklift with a pallet and come down here. That way I can take this PTO out and actually have something to lay it on. I don't have anything to lay it on, so I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'll bring you back in here when I'm ready to bring the forklift over and try and get that PTO popped out of the back of that thing. Got the forklift sitting here behind me, and so let's see here. In fact, actually, I'm going to have to grab a hammer and a pry bar. That way I can pop this face piece here out, because that'll all come out together. Okay, let's see here if this will work. Move y'all on up that we can see a little bit better. I will say the stabilization on that GoPro, I like it. Does a good job. Come on, let's go. Okay, that's got the right hand side work loose. Now if I can get my little roller chair moved around, we'll see if we can get the left hand side kind of opening up a little bit. It's got just a dab of oil kind of wanting to leak around it from, there we go. But now that the hydraulic's all empty, it shouldn't be too bad for oil. Let me grab 2 bars. I can kind of walk it back and forth. There we go. Just gotta keep wiggling it and get it broke loose. And of course that PTO should come out with it. As far as I know anyway. Oh. Okay. Well, like I say, trying to remember how to do all this from the 4955. And right there I see a snap ring already. Huh. Okay, I'm gonna have to get you guys out of the way. The camera's right smack dab in my line of work where I need to come out at. Got this outer cover here popped off. I'm not sure what it takes to get that thing out of there. For some, I can't get it to come out, because when I took the one out of the 4955, when I undid this, the whole entire PTO shaft just came right out with it, and that one don't come out. So I don't know if there's something designed different between the 40 series and the 55 series or what. However, as you saw when I was trying to get this thing here off the end, there's a snap ring, and it appears that it actually just popped out of the groove. Right there's that little groove, you can see it very well right there. And so, looks like basically all I need to do is take and pop the snap ring back in. Well, put this here back on, of course, then put the snap ring in. And that's it. So, not quite as bad as what I thought. Well, I've been on the phone, making phone calls between a couple of the different John Deere stores. And for some reason, I'm not sure how, but it acts like this snap ring got literally forced out of that groove, because it is actually, as you can see right there on camera, well, maybe you can, it's like tapered, and so the whole thing is like bent. I'm not too sure how well you can see that still anyway. So I talked to John Deere, and they had the parts on. Well, the one store has 2 of the parts I need, which is this O-ring, right? This oil seal, and the gasket that goes around here. The other John Deere store has these 2 snap rings, and they're actually both owned by the same company, Green Mark Equipment. And so the one is actually going to be sending the 2 snap rings to the store closer to me, and it'll be there this evening sometime, and then we'll just pick the parts up tomorrow morning. But I am going to go ahead and pop this snap ring out of the back right here and get that one popped out, because I'm going to put both new snap rings in, and new grease seal, new gasket, put her back together, job done. So I want to grab a couple pry bars and pop that back snap ring out of that groove. Now let's see here. If I can get that. Worst trouble is, most snap rings have 2 little holes that you can take and put your snap ring pliers into. This one don't. Come on. Easier said than done, especially when it wants to spin around and around on you. Generally what I'll do is I'll put 2 pry bars like this back to back, and then just pivot against each other. However, it's easier said than done. I have to see if I can walk it out of there with a little small screwdriver. Now let's see here. If I can get that. Worst trouble is, most snap rings have 2 little holes that you can take and put your snap ring pliers into. This one don't. Come on. Easier said than done, especially when it wants to spin around and around on you. Generally what I'll do is I'll put 2 pry bars like this back to back, and then just pivot against each other. However, it's easier said than done. I have to see if I can walk it out of there with a little small screwdriver. Well, this is easier said than done. Okay, I got that end. Come on, out of that groove. I just gotta keep walking the rest of it out. Or so I thought anyway. I can see it's a whole lot better when these snap rings have holes that you can put a pair of pliers into and actually just break it loose. In fact, I got a big, like a 90-degree awl. I'm gonna see if that'll actually help me also. All right, I got my little picks. Let's see if we can get that thing worked back up and out of there. Okay, that's got part of it started. Yep, jump back in. Well, I thought anyway I'd get that thing out there. Does not want to budge. Let it jump back in again. Well, maybe I can try from the other side. Okay, well, I figured just for the fun of it, let's see what happens if I put my big pair of snap ring pliers in there. It just might work. Come on. Whoop. Well, I had it opened up anyway. It was just getting ready to pop clear over that thing and then jumped off. Like I say, I wish they had two little holes to put the little pins in. Not too sure how well you can see in there. Problem is, it's hard to get a light in there too. Okay. All right, I got both ends popped up and out of the groove. Oh boy. Problem is though, now I got another groove to go over and get it worked out of. Well, yeah, I got one anyway. Let's go do it again. Come on. This thing narrowed down to fall in there. There. Okay, there it comes. Now I just gotta get the new snap rings, put them in, done deal. Well, we're on our way up to the John Deere place to get my parts. So thankfully they had them, well, the ones that, like I say, the one store had the oil seal and that gasket on hand. The other store had the two snap rings, and so they got them they got the one store southwest of us, they got them transferred up north, and so I'm heading up here toward the town of Winnemac, and we'll pick up my parts and hopefully get that tractor back going again. Pulling in up here at the John Deere place. All right, there's a nice loader tractor. So we'll run in here and grab my parts, then head right back home. Well, I'm leaving the John Deere place up here. I don't know about you all, but that big four-wheel drive tractor right there, I think that'd look good on Dylan Joyce's farm. I'm not too sure how thrilled he'd be on paying for it, but just had to make a little comment. So I think it looked pretty good sitting down there. Alrighty, we're back here in the shed. Got our goodies. That's the oil seal that goes, well, in the front of this. Right there. Right here's the gasket that goes in the back side. In fact, right there's the old gasket. I gotta get a scraper and clean that old gasket off. And right here are the two snap rings. Now the inner snap ring, or the back one I guess you want to call it. Now, It still looked pretty good, although I figure if I'm going to replace them, I'm going to replace both of them. Kind of odd though, that one almost looks like it's had pressure put against it as well. Not near as bad though as the outer one. And I'm not too sure how well you can see that on camera. You can kind of see it's not exactly in line, how it's twisted right there. So, them get tossed in the trash. Now the fun job of getting this snap ring, especially well, I guess if you want to call it the inner one, back there on that groove, and right there is where the outer one goes. But the fun job is I've got to push this on, put it into the outer groove, and then get it popped back out of there and put it back on the inside notch. So I'm not going to sit here and bore you to death just fighting with a snap ring, but I'll show you once I get it put back in there. Finally got through the outer groove right here with a lot of playing. So let's see if we can get it popped in that back groove, and we're good to go. There's part of it. Hey, there we go. Okay, back snap ring's on. Got the new gasket here. Thankfully, this thing's got like a little alignment pins. One on top, one down here on the bottom. That's a big help right there. It all fits right in perfect. So now I believe I am ready for the housing. Okay, there we go. Get the housing put back in. Gotta get a little hammer and kind of tap that thing in also. You don't have far to go. Ah, boy. Oh, now that PTO doesn't want to try and get that bottomed out. Okay, then it's got that, because then right back in here is the groove for the outer snap ring. So I think that should have it. Now I'm going to grab my snap ring and try and get that thing popped in there. Before I put the snap ring in, I'm going to go ahead and throw 2 bolts in. One on each side. There's that one. And that one. Oh yeah, if you hear some background noise of something running, if you saw my video back in the summer where we tore down our old corn crib, we still had some of that old concrete laying off in the corner of the barnyard, and so our landlord, he's the one that brought his excavator over back in the summer. He brought it back over to bury that concrete that we had dug up, and so that's, if you hear that in the background, that's what it is. Even though this snap ring doesn't have snap ring plier holes, you can still kind of get it caught there on the end with a pair of snap ring pliers and move it on back in there. Well, in theory, that is. Come on, let's go. If you can get to butt up right. Okay. It's up over that taper. Now if I just get it shoved in that little groove, we'll be all set. Come on, let's go. Getting closer. I'm gonna grab a screwdriver. Yep, there went my impact. Set that thing off out of the way. There we go. Okay, there we are. Hey, I got it. It's in the groove. We're locked in place. Now I just gotta do the fun job of getting that new oil seal put in there. Now the fun job, getting that thing on there. In fact, what I think I'm going to try is, especially with it having that rubber gasket, is take a little bit of vegetable oil and put right around there. I actually learned that from a mechanic working on my antique tractors. He said if you use just like regular motor oil or hydraulic, he said it can actually cause the rubber to want to kind of swell up. But if you use vegetable oil, it won't swell. So I'm going to grab me some veggie oil and anything else I may need to try and get that thing seated in there. Okay, put a little veggie oil back there. I'm also going to take and coat the little O-ring seal here inside the oil seal. Make it pop on that thing easier. Okay, there we go. But yeah, you can see it's kind of bowl shaped. Now I just gotta get this.
It takes a lot of pressure to bend that.
Yeah. And so.
Something don't seem.
Yeah, exactly. Now I just gotta get this dumb oil seal started and seated in there, which is easier said than done because it keeps wanting to tip back and forth in a rock.
Big old socket to.
Yeah, what I need is a piece of pipe.
Yeah, that's what I say. Something around it.
I got the bottom I see started.
Can I get in there to help hold on one side of it, or how much room is there?
Well, there's about only hardly room for two hands.
Yeah.
I think it may be starting here.
That ground back there, well, it's dry. Them sidewalls are just almost straight as an arrow.
Okay, yeah, all that sand.
That ground is hard as a dang rock, too.
Really?
Yeah. Made the whole thing snort a couple of times.
That countersunk, it just seems to be countersunk enough to where that rubber gasket is well over the taper of that PTO. Now, that don't look too far off right there. It's back past that taper. That's what I want. Okay. I think that'll have it. Perfect. Alright guys, I'm going to call that an end of this video. That's got the grease seal, oil seal, whatever you want to call it, tied in there, and we should be good to go. In fact, the guy who run the excavator, that's who you heard me talking to just a little bit ago. And so, but yeah, now all I gotta do now is somebody just take and put the oil back in the tractor. Well, plus some besides what's in them 2 buckets. And I should be ready to put this clamshell piece for the disc chisel hook up, and should be ready to roll. So take care. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.